What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 2 for 2 podcast, your sports podcast for the culture by the voices of the culture. I'm your host, Quis, and I'm here with my co-host, Nelly. We got a lot of stuff to get into today, man, so just sit back and enjoy it with us. We got season 3, episode 6. Let's ride. Yo, Nelly! How you feeling? You see him?
You see me?
Week. You
Hey,
see
man.
Cowboys out. Nelly, how you feeling? Talk to the people.
Hey, man. Like Deion Sanders say, hit my theme music. You see it. 40-0. 40-0. That's how we coming out. That's how we starting the season.
Oh, my God. Okay. Hey, Nelly is feeling good, as you can see.
Turns up, man.
Boys, man. So, hey, let's jump back into it, bro. Week 1 reactions. Talk to me from the Cowboys' perspective. Are you surprised with the outcome of your Cowboys?
I mean, I think everybody was surprised 40-0. Like,
yeah.
I mean, look, I don't think the Giants. We talked about it in the our previews. I thought the Giants might have been a team that could slip up this year and not be a playoff team or be lesser than what we saw last year.
Yeah.
Something like a team that we'll talk about that played against your Bucs. They won a lot of close games last year in the NFL. That could flip, the following year. Those bounces that go your way don't go your way the next season, and that's like 2-3 games, and you could end up missing out on the playoffs. But as far as the Cowboys just having such a dominant performance over a division rival, it's a great way to start the season. I'm not taking too much of it. It was definitely impressive. The defense looked amazing, and everybody kind of knew coming into the season the defense had a chance to be even better than it was last year. They drafted Mozzie Smith to try to shore up that run defense. You bring in Stephen Gilmore to have a second corner next to Trayvon Diggs, and both those two played lights out. On Sunday.
Yeah,
Micah Parsons. I mean, 11 from heaven. Like, what more can we say about him? They call him 11 from heaven, but I mean, that boy might have came from down under with them demons, because he'd be on demon time when that ball was snapped. And you saw it from the get-go. The defense was just on Daniel Jones all night. The pressure was just too much. I mean, they really couldn't get anything going. The first drive, I mean, they were kind of running the ball down our throats, and I was kind of paused, and I was like, yo, like, this is kind of the same thing as last season. And, I thought, here we go again. They got down to the red zone. They had the bobbled snap on third down that led to the field goal that was blocked and took back for a touchdown. And next thing you know, interception, pick six. So, and then it just got dark from there. But, complete performance offensively, not too much Dak had to do. Only threw for 143 yards. He did there was a couple drops on third downs that, ended a couple drives, but still, you didn't need to do much. Tony Pollard, first year, being a full-time starter and the lead back, 2 touchdowns, 70 yards. So, I liked what I saw from him. I liked what I saw out of Mike McCarthy, him taking over play calling. CeeDee Lamb, he seemed to be scheming up CeeDee Lamb for some good stuff. So, offensively, they didn't have to do much. So I can't really come out here and say, Mike McCarthy, was the savior and Kellen Moore was really the problem last year. I think we'll have to see that going forward. But also a great start, 1-0, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, like you said, y'all look good from the jump. Y'all look like a team that was ready to play. Like, y'all have been waiting all offseason for this game, and it showed. Y'all were the more aggressive team. Y'all flew around. The defense looked amazing. I love Micah Parsons. I say that all the time, but wow, I mean, nobody could predict the game would go like that. Giants fans they feeling it right now.
That's a tough one to sit in the rain in. That's a tough one.
Yeah, you start the season off like that. You praying and hoping you get something to give you a little bit of life, right? Going into week 2, but
yeah, we killed that. We killed that in the first quarter.
Yeah, y'all handle business, and so I'll talk a little bit about my Bucs, man. 1-0 Buccaneers.
Yeah, man.
I'm saving.
Cost me about $500.
Hey, come on, I told you. And I think, I put in my notes, man, my biggest surprise from the game is that y'all are surprised. I mean, if you listen to the pod, if you know me, I told y'all how he was coming. It won't over. I think my biggest takeaway from it was that Todd Bowles looked really comfortable coaching this game. Usually Todd Bowles makes some weird decisions. We know he's a great defensive coach, but for some reason, for me, just being a Bucs fan, watching him now as opposed to last season, it looks like a little weight's off of him. Even though he's coaching for his career, I think the pressure having Tom Brady, and he talked so much about he had basically Bruce Arians' coaching staff last season. He didn't get his own guys, so he's brought in his own people, and we look great. He really dialed it up on Kirk Cousins, made him extremely uncomfortable, sent a lot of blitzes. Devin White, man, I gotta give him a shout out, man. He truly looked like a guy that's trying to get 100 mil. I pray that he continues to play like that. He looked like a man possessed. Antoine Winfield on defense as well looked amazing, and then Baker Mayfield, he did exactly what I talked about. Just manage the game. Offense started off slow. That's to be expected. It's week one. I'll get into that a little more in terms of like preseason and people playing. But I think I wish I would have saw the Bucs first string offense play more in the preseason. So the first couple drives, it looked like a team that was trying to get their feet wet. But at the end of the day, man, Baker came out there threw for 173 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers, and that won us a ball game. The difference was the Vikings turned the ball over 3 times, the Bucs turned over 0. That's how you win football games. So I'm really impressed. 1-0. I've been talking a lot, but I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna just keep watching. We got a week 2 game against the Bears coming up. So
It's 2-0. So
hey, I'm just
hey,
saying it when
all
you win week 1 and the schedule opens up a little bit. Now you're like, okay, hold on. That was one that we might have penciled as an L. You got a W, going to week 2 against a
I'm
team
gonna
that
still
didn't.
pencil it in as a L.
Okay, and you're gonna lose $500 more. So I'm gonna,
They not on the tickets this week. I don't
no,
know
so
about
he's
that
down
one.
with the Bucs. Okay, that's
Uh,
great. But yeah,
you can't snake me out of money and then get back on my tickets the next week. That's
hey,
not happening.
you're a smart man. Nell is a smart man. A big week for 2 for 2. We went 2 for 2. Cowboys with a big statement win over their divisional rival, and the
Not gonna
Buccaneers.
happen often, but we went 2 for 2 this week.
Right on your end. See how
Yeah,
Nell did?
yeah, okay.
Okay. So 2-0, we 2 for 2. Bucs Cowboys with 2 big wins to start off the season. Me and Nell are good. You didn't have to play the somber music. You got some good music to start off the pod. You got Nell in the hat. You got me here. My jerseys are getting shipped in. So when you see them, you'll see them. But don't worry. We're gonna move out of that, Nell. Thursday night, the game that we talked so much about last week, man. The Detroit Lions escaped the defending champion Kansas City Chiefs with a score of 21-20 to start the season. I know Travis Kelce didn't play, Chris Jones didn't play now, but are Lions for real? What do you think?
I think we got to pump the brakes on it just a little bit. I definitely think, especially after the way the Vikings looked, the Bears looked. I mean, you got to say they're probably front
Yeah,
runner for that division right now. But I mean, for real, in terms of the NFC, they're probably a tier below, the top 3 that's universally been talked about as being the best teams in the NFC. But they looked good. I mean, offensively, wasn't much to talk about. Obviously, they had only 14 points on offense. The other came on a pick 6. Um, you know, Gibbs, he did look explosive, had a couple really nice plays.
pretty good.
So look forward to watching him throughout the season and how he progresses. But defensively, they look much improved. Like this was a game they probably couldn't win last season, even with Patrick Mahomes not having his Travis Kelce and Chris Jones. This would be a game that they would find a way to let slip away just because they couldn't stop a nosebleed.
Yeah.
So defensively and a big play, Brian Branch, rookie coming in getting that pick 6, and that was a big play of the game because obviously they didn't score many points in that game. But defensively, they locked up in the second half, and Mahomes didn't have his guys, and we saw them dropping a lot of passes. Tony, Scott Moore, so rough day at the office for them. But I'm not worried about the Chiefs. If they can get Kelce back, I think they'll be fine. But Lions definitely look like an improved football team.
Yeah, for sure. And I was going to ask you, did you think the Chiefs could get it done with this receiving core? And how do you think they bounce back? But you touched on it, man. And I'm right with you. I think the Lions, I mean, they definitely look improved from last season. And we talked a little bit just now. You said the Vikings and the Giants that were winning close games. Last year, the Lions were on the other side of that, right? But this week, or this season so far to start off, they look pretty poised. I say Jared Goff looked pretty decent for what they had. I think they definitely gonna have to use Gibbs a lot more because he just changes how that offense looks. It just looks so explosive when you give him the ball on limited touches, making things happen. But the defense definitely showed up. Aiden Hutchinson, my Michigan boy, was wreaking havoc. Uh, the left tackle, or excuse me, the right tackle was false starting all game and still getting abused. So that's something that the Chiefs will have to work on and clean up if they want to have a chance. But I definitely think, like you said, the Lions. I mean, it doesn't tell you a ton, just off of all the other things that went into the game, but they did get it done, and their division is wide open and looks pretty weak. Outside of them and them Packers that I know I was waiting on you to say it,
Yeah,
and I knew
yeah.
you weren't. I knew you weren't
Nah,
gonna say it. So we're
ain't
gonna
getting no
pump the
love from me
brakes.
yet.
Hey, Nell said it. The Packers not getting no love, so we're gonna pump the brakes on them as well. But yes, definitely the Detroit Lions. They might be for real, they might not, but we gonna hold off. I think at full strength, that's a much different game. I
For
mean,
sure.
we can look at the Chiefs receivers out there. Justin Watson, Kadarius Toney was the biggest name that people would probably be familiar with, and he didn't do anything. One of our fantasy duds of the week, Sky Moore, with a whopping 0 for 0, didn't do a thing out there. The Chiefs just didn't look. They looked a little out of sync. You could tell Pat was kind of in chill mode after a while. He was like, "All right, this ain't getting no better." But they still had a chance to win, and I think that speaks to the greatness of Andy Reid and the Chiefs and with Pat Mahomes. So I'm not worried about him at all. I think getting Chris Jones and Travis Kelce back definitely will. They'll they'll get right back rolling. We'll be right back on that Chiefs money line. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but
Like,
I do think going forward, this is why I didn't really pick them to get back to the Super Bowl this year, just because I mean they're already dealing with so much at the start of the season with Chris Jones being
yeah,
out. Who knows if that situation is going to get resolved. Kelsey, hopefully he's back for week 2. I mean, my fantasy lineup for sure needs it. So hopefully he's back. But
both.
those receivers, it's going to be a question mark for them all year. I mean, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, we saw he's going to put the ball where it needs to be. Ninety-five
Catch it.
percent of the
You
time. So
just gotta
like,
catch it.
it's just playmakers got to show up. And then obviously we saw at the end of the game, the Lions able to run the ball pretty effectively. That's something that Chris Jones, they had him in that lineup. Maybe it goes the other way.
Right.
So that's something just to look at going forward, and just for their aspirations of having another Super Bowl.
Yeah, and they signed. I said it during the game. I was saying that Chris Jones deal might get done by halftime, and they did come out and sign him to a 1 year deal. I think it can be up to about 25 mil. So we'll see how soon he's ready to play. I'm not sure how well he's been keeping in shape or if he's even been reporting, but Chris Jones will be back soon enough. Travis Kelce, for me and Nell's fantasy sakes, please start off the season 0-1 just off the strength that I ain't have my guy. And based off that game now, I'm thinking Travis Kelsey's looking at least 15 targets a week. I mean,
I need it.
gotta
I
be
need it.
at at minimum, you know what I'm saying? So Thursday night game was what it was. Very entertaining game, though. Great way to start off the season. Great to see the Lions get a win. The NFC looking pretty good. That AFC, that's real tough. And we'll get into that in just a second. Looking at our Monday night overtime thriller. Nell, they always talk about the NFL being scripted, man. What better way? What better scripting than to have the entire New York Jets hype train get all the way to its destination for the conductor to blow a tire? Now, what do you think, man? What'd you see last night? How do you feel about the A-Rod injury? It's tough, but it's football, right?
Man, that sucked. That sucked to see. Rough 24 hours for MetLife Stadium. Uh, Giants get it handed to them 40-0, and then the next night you lose Aaron Rodgers. What was it? A couple plays in,
First drive,
just
man. First drive.
just deflated the entire arena. Um, but somehow they got it done. Credit to that defense, number one for sure. forcing 3 turnovers on Josh Allen. Um, Zach Wilson, stepping up, making some plays, big connection with Garrett Wilson at the end to tie the game up with a touchdown. Um, so I just with Rodgers being out, the Jets playoff chances are pretty much done. Report came out that they've talked to some veteran quarterbacks already. Not sure who those are, but unless they get in Tom Brady,
And they're not.
and they're not.
They
I don't
got
know.
Carson Wentz, man.
I don't know
They
what
said they
quarterback
said
out there
they said
on the
Colin
market.
Kaepernick's interested in the job. We're gonna do that again this year. I
That man
see.
ain't played in like a decade.
And they're gonna force it, man, every time. I'm right with you though, Nell. I think, I mean, they're I mean, what better way than for Zach Wilson than you get written off, right? And now the Jets
Got written
season,
off for a reason.
he did. I'm not a fan. I don't think he's that good. Even the touchdown he threw last night, that was strictly off Garrett Wilson just being elite. Simple as that, making a play on the Bills' best corner in Tre'Davious White. So, do you think Zach Wilson can save his career and lead the Jets in any way? I know you say they're not a playoff team, but is there any possible chance that Zach Wilson can get it done?
No, I
All
mean
right.
we pretty much saw it in that game. I
Yeah.
mean it probably wouldn't have been close if Josh Allen just looked like a normal person last night, and played the way that most Bills fans are accustomed to. Gifting them 3 turnovers. Defensively, you only gave up what 16 points in regulation. So, I mean, offensively, it was the problem, and the Jets got a great defense. I mean, that's one of the reasons they've been talked about so much because their defense has a chance to be elite. And then you bring in a 4-time MVP and Aaron Rodgers with guys like Brees Hall and Garrett Wilson. You as an NFL fan, and obviously if you're a Jets fan, you were excited to see what this team could possibly put together. And it just sucks we won't get to see that this year.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. There's no veteran quarterback that they can call on that will replace Aaron Rodgers. I don't even think at this point Tom Brady could really, what I'm saying, it would build the hype back up. But I said to somebody earlier today, I just don't know how Tom Brady at his big old age would watch that game, watch Rodgers get hurt, watch that offensive line, and then be like, yeah, I'm gonna just come out of retirement and play. It's not gonna happen. They're gonna have to live with Zach Wilson, and just hope and pray that he can put something together and that defense can recreate the magic from last year. But it just wasn't great. And like you said, you touched on it. Ugly game from Josh Allen. Not exactly what we were looking forward to. A guy that many people had pegged to maybe be an MVP candidate this year. They got the Bills as a big AFC contender, of course, but he just didn't look comfortable. Now I'm not sure if it was just me, but I mean, the connection to Diggs is there, of course. But outside of that, some of his decision making getting picked off 3 times by Jordan Whitehead, former Buccaneer, who's I read this morning that he hit his season incentive for $250,000. He had to get 3 picks on the season, gets him in the first game against Josh Allen. I mean,
Crazy.
that's uncharacteristic stuff. Some I will say that I noticed from the game though. Sauce
That must
Gardner,
be Josh Allen's boy. He was trying to
it
get him
must be.
paid.
They must be. Hey, I hope he's
He
gonna
was
break
trying to get
Josh
him
off
paid.
because boy, and it was 3 bad ones. Well, one play, Jordan Whitehead made a great play on the ball towards the end of the game, but the other two were, I just don't think Josh Allen saw him trying to throw the ball up the seam and got picked off. But Sauce Gardner, he got picked on a little bit. I said on the pod, I said he's gonna have to show improve because this year teams are gonna attack him a little bit more to really see what he's like. He made enough plays when he counted, but I think I saw something. He got targeted 6 times, and it was a catch each time. So his presence is what it is. But the Jets, man, everything is trending down. So I don't know if you got anything else to say on the Jets and the Bills. Any light at the end of the tunnel for Bills fans? Do you just think it was a little blip?
Yeah, I think the Bills will pick it back up. I mean, Josh Allen. I mean, look, he's not the only quarterback that had a
Oh,
dud in
mhm.
Week 1. You touched on it a little bit. I mean, none of these guys are playing in preseason. Preseason shorter. It's just one week. I'm a little nervous about the lack of weapons in Buffalo, because outside of Diggs, I mean, who's really a true number two on that team? I don't really think Gabe Davis is the guy that they need to be the number two option on that team.
Right.
Going forward, that's something to worry about. But I think Josh Allen and Diggs, like you said, they're such an elite duo and combination. Like they'll pick it up, and that defense. Again, the defense didn't play terrible last night. Again, you only gave up 16 points in regulation, so both offenses didn't really show up that night, and I think Josh Allen will get back to it next week against the Raiders.
Right. And to lose the game on a punt return touchdown, I mean, that's just one of them things where you don't even get a man a chance to go down and well, I mean, he did give him a chance, but you didn't give the defense a shot to get another stop like they had been doing all game. The Jets got it done. I think a lot of the emotions from the Rodgers injury, carried with them. The football guys were with them. But yeah, I think the Bills will bounce back as well. But there's some you said that is going to take us into our next conversation, which was the quarterback struggles. Now, you sent the article to us of the 28 quarterbacks who played on Sunday. Only 5 managed to throw for more than 250 yards. And those 5 quarterbacks were Tua Tagovailoa, Matthew Stafford, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, and Mac Jones.
Crazy.
How many? You didn't hear Pat Mahomes. You didn't hear Josh Allen. You didn't hear Lamar Jackson. You didn't hear big name quarterbacks, Justin Herbert, guys that we're used to seeing. You touched on preseason. I'm right with you. Now, I feel like it has to do with the preseason. I think in the NFL, football is a repetition sport. It's rep, 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 rep. It's timing, communication, things of that nature. And all those come, like, it's good to do that in practice, right? But you practicing on air or against your guys, you coming up, you thud, and you're not really tackling, you know what I'm saying? So to go from, I mean, I would probably say, I don't have an exact number, but I'm sure over half of the teams didn't play their starters at all. And if they did, no more than one series in the preseason. And then you roll into week one, and now to me, it feels like week one is more like week 0, right? I mean, the guys don't have enough reps. And it shows, it just looks ugly. I mean, Mac Jones he threw for 300 yards. Mac Jones played in preseason though. You know what I'm saying? You think about it, Kirk Cousins, played against my Bucs. It's not saying much. We're a bend don't break defense anyway. So I think moving forward, hopefully, we can see the quarterbacks kind of get rolling. And one quarterback in particular now, Joe Burrow, a guy that you like.
Okay.
You like him a lot. We got the text from Nell early. He says, "There goes my MVP pick," and
But
it,
there's a lot of people's MVP picks out there that ain't have a great week 1. So,
and that's true. But the Cleveland Browns showed up big time against the Cincinnati Bengals. It's only week 1 now. We talked a little bit about, should the Chiefs be worried? Should the Bengals be worried now after week 1?
nah, I'm not sweating it. We talked about that's my Super Bowl pick, but it was a nasty game. Weather-wise, Mother Nature, she made herself, she took over the headlines. Joe Burrows didn't play preseason, but that wasn't just because they told him he wasn't going to sit. He had it dealing with an injury and getting back on the field. So, I think he's going to take some time. I think he'll get back into it. You got too many weapons and Chase and Higgins. Like, both those guys not having impacts was just shocking to me. I don't know if Higgins, I don't think he caught a pass or maybe
He did
caught
not
one.
catch a pass.
Yeah, did not catch a pass. Like, that's just
8 targets, no catches.
somebody of his talent. Like, that's just, I can't see that happening again. The offensive line for the Bengals was a little scary. Myles Garrett definitely had his way with that offensive line, able to get a lot of pressure on him. I mean, only 82 passing yards. If it wasn't for the Giants looking as bad as they look Sunday night, I mean,
Yeah.
you make the case the Bengals were the worst looking team in week 1. They were that bad offensively. So I expect them to pick it back up, but yeah, they're gonna need a big week, and it's not gonna be easy because they got the Ravens coming up next.
Yeah, it won't be it won't be easy at all. You get two divisional games off the rip. You looked pretty abysmal in the first one. The Ravens didn't look great in their game, but they pulled it out against the Texans. So, I mean, we touched on it a little bit, man. The quarterback struggles was just they were very, very vast. There was a lot of fantasy duds. Now, I know my team started off pretty poorly. I think I'm in 4 leagues for fun, and I'm over 0 for 4. So, I mean, so I have a lot of fantasy duds.
I
Yeah.
had a lot of bad ones.
Yeah, so it was a bad week. So everybody's just going, we're just going to wash and rinse, and we're going to try again week 2, man. But you said something that I like, man, about week 1, about some disappointing surprises. So now I want you to tell me, give me your biggest surprise, your biggest disappointment, and then the team that you think looks like the best team in the league after week 1.
All right, my biggest surprise, we already talked about them, the Buffalo Bills. I was pretty high on them coming into the year. I thought people were sleeping on them just because of the bad playoff loss season before. But to come in and look the way that they did, turn the football over, uh, you know, the Jets were pretty much lifeless after that Aaron Rodgers injury, and Josh Allen pretty much just gave it right back to him with all those turnovers. So that was pretty surprising for me. Well, I don't know. I guess I'll put that as my disappointment.
Yeah, it was a lot out there.
Disappointment, but it was shocking to me as well. Uh, Biggest surprise, honestly. I guess I gotta say it, man.
I've been
Scream.
waiting. I've been waiting. I was waiting for it because if you didn't say it, I was gonna force it. I'm glad you said it. Thank you. Thank you, Nell. Thank
Uh,
you, Nell.
I gotta say I did not see that one coming. The Bears are still the Bears. I see. Don't matter. Don't matter who at quarterback. The Packers just own them. But I mean, Jordan Love, he didn't look too bad. Defense looked good. They've got a great offensive line, so he's being protected well. They've got two backs that produced. Aaron Jones had a pretty good game. Romeo Dobbs had 2 touchdowns, and Christian Watson didn't play in this one, so scoring 35, 38 points without your number one receiver, off to a good start. So I'm interested to see them play the Falcons next week. Two teams that got off to good starts, and we'll see which one looking like the real deal. But can't lie, Packers they look all right.
Yeah. So did you say who you're?
And the Bears, let's emphasize that, like it was the Bears.
Yeah, the Bears are what they are. Jordan Love looked all right, so I'm happy that Nell finally said it. I'm happy to hear it. I just had to hear him say it one time. I know I won't hear it again. But for me, man, my biggest surprise has to be the New York Giants. I mean, granted, I did not think they would win that game, but I did go on record as having said I thought that they would be a surprise team in the NFC East once again, and they are surprising us. What'd you say?
Your boy Chico doing?
Hey, Chico is unwell, man. I didn't hear from him really much. I was in a PlayStation party with him for a little bit during the game. It was funny that first drive, y'all sacked him third and 15, or you sacked him and you sacked him, and then he came in the party. He's like snapping. His stream was a little bit behind though, and y'all blocked the kick, right? So I'm listening to him talk. I'm like, he ain't seen nothing yet. And then he finally saw it. And yeah, so Chico's been down, but he resurfaced in the chat today. I think he's trying to move on, but that's got to be my biggest surprise. Danny Dimes got that money and didn't look too hot. That offensive line looked about as bad as they did in previous years, and the defense didn't really have to, y'all didn't have to do much, but Tony Pollard looked real comfortable, real good, toting that football. And so I'm really surprised by the Giants. Brian Dabble, he's a pretty good coach, man. And that a 40-0 goose egg, that's got to be surprising. But that's not even my biggest disappointment. My biggest disappointment, man, is for my boy Walt and his Pittsburgh Steelers, man. Just
Yeah.
nailed it.
Man came on here and said they going to the AFC Championship.
He did. He did. He had me on the bandwagon. I was like Mike Tomlin, coach of the year.
Ain't gonna lie, he did. He had me too.
He made me change mine. I
I'm
mean,
like, I ain't gonna pick him to be last in the division. It never happens.
but man, oh man. And this is so we're on here talking about the need for preseason. The Steelers offense plays all preseason, looks great, gets us all excited, man, and then lay that egg out there. My biggest disappointment of week one is definitely the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm sorry, Walt. I'm sorry, Steeler Nation. I'm sorry to my father being a Steelers fan. I'm sorry, to everybody that had to watch that, man. Which take me to my next point, which I hate to even say it, man. The 49ers look like the best team in the league.
But
I mean, it's a toss up between y'all and the Niners, of course. I'm cautioning y'all only because I wasn't able to see much from the offense because of the circumstance of the game.
all right.
Look, you converted me slowly, man. I'm slowly but surely giving y'all some love. I had y'all in the NFC chip.
All
You know
right.
what I'm saying? But I'm gonna say for now, after week one, Brandon Ayuk looked amazing. I'm still not 100% sold on Brock Purdy, but he looked good enough against the Steelers defense that's usually pretty daunting. They're always well prepared, but they put up 30 points, held them to 7 points on the other end. I mean, I got to go with them for right now. They look like they're hungry. They got a chip on their shoulder. They were serious when they said that that they felt like they should have been playing that Super Bowl. So we'll see how long that momentum rides. Week one, of course, that's the one time everybody's really healthy, right? But it's also the one time that everybody hasn't been fully. What'd you say?
Said barely.
Yeah, barely, right? Barely healthy is correct, especially the way that this week went in terms of injuries all across the league. But that's where I'm gonna take it. Week one in the books, man. Very, very fun. And that can get us looking forward to week two, man. What games and storylines do you have for us this week, Nell? It's a lot of interesting games. We got a lot of teams that's got to bounce back. We got a lot of teams that have to show that last week wasn't a fluke, right? So tell me, give me some games and some storylines for this week.
Yeah, man. It's not that many exciting matchups. Not as
Yeah.
much week one, but there's a couple out there. Browns and Steelers. It's a AFC North. Got two big division games. Ravens and Bengals. Like you said, the Ravens didn't look great against the Texans, but they got a double digit win. Defense looked great, but Ravens have been known to terrorize rookie quarterbacks. You know, Odell caught a couple passes. He was back. Zay Flowers looked like they're gonna get him involved a lot in the passing game. Still not nothing crazy that we haven't seen from the Ravens before. But they looked pretty good. And the Bengals, they're coming home, I hope upset, at the way they played in week one. And, to drop two division games, like that and fall to 0-2, that would be rough. So that should be an interesting one. And then the Browns and Steelers on Monday night. Steelers coming
Oh,
off
two
a
games.
yeah, Steelers coming off a bad loss. So we gonna see. Wall said ain't no way the Browns doing something this year. So that's gonna be a fun one. Right now I gotta say I'll take the Browns in that one.
Yeah, look, based off week one, man, it didn't look good, but I'm right with you in terms of my games and storylines. I'm looking at all the bounce back games, man. I got Thursday night, the Eagles, who almost let one slip away. So the Patriots, who we weren't too high on now, they almost let one slip away, but they're going against the Minnesota Vikings coming off of a loss to my Buccaneers, a team projected to finish at the bottom three. So I'm curious to see that game, especially on a short week. The Chiefs bounce back versus the Jags, another game that's going to be might have some AFC playoff implications. I'm really excited to see that one. And then aside from the Ravens and Bengals, which is going to be an absolute dogfight, we already talked about that division, how that's going to get. I'm curious to see what's next for the Jets. Zach Wilson's now got to prepare to be the starter.
I tell you, the Jets.
And they running up on them boys, right? So
Hey now.
hey, so I'm curious to see. I want to see how Dak and that offense looks against that Jets defense. That looked pretty stout. But I also I mean, I kind of know how it's gonna look for Zach Wilson.
Uh,
That man whose number you got on right now is gonna have him.
gonna be running for his life.
Yeah, he's gonna have him seeing some stars. But I'm excited to still see how that goes, man. So we got some good storylines and some interesting games with some interesting implications. But Nell, give me a player or a team that needs a big week, man. So you told me the storylines. We talked about the teams that underperform, all the fantasy duds this week. Tell me what player or team or both has to have a big week 2.
I'm gonna say the Chargers defense needs to have a big week. We talked a good amount about the Chargers coming into the season. They got a lot of weapons. Herbert got his money. We expected big things. They got a new offensive coordinator. And they put up 34 points. Eckler had a great game. Keenan Allen, was good. Herb was his usual self, but um, defensively, they just had no answer for Tyreek Hill. And I mean, who does?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's just unguardable. But uh, you got a lot of talent on that defense, but it just hasn't been put together these last 2 seasons, and they have no chance of. I mean, I'll say they have no chance of even getting to the playoffs if their defense continues to play that bad. I mean, it's not every week you got to go against the speed of
Yeah.
Hill and Waddle, so they should be better. But I think that unit needs to step up if the Chargers want to be a team to reckon with this year. And then another player, Saquon Barkley, he's gotta have a big day for the Giants to do something. Darren Waller had a couple catches against the Cowboys. Obviously, that offensive line couldn't protect Daniel Jones at all. I thought they ran the football pretty well that first drive. He still averaged, I think, 4 or 5 yards a carry. So I think he's gonna have to have a big day for the Giants to bounce back and get their first one of the season.
Yeah, I like where your head is. I had the Giants on my short list, as well as Joe Burrow, uh, and the obvious Josh Allen. Which for me, I mean, I don't know, man. I want to tab him as like
That need to bounce back.
I want to tab him as this guy that's like really really good, and I know he has so much talent. That's never been questioned, but the decision making, I want to see him bounce back. But even bigger than all of those, Ryan Tannehill and these Tennessee Titans, man. I mean they're not good, right? They're not good. But Ryan Tannehill went out there, threw for 198 yards on 16 and 34 passing with 3 interceptions,
E-Hop said he wanted to go play with a good quarterback.
and that's what I'm saying. Ryan Tannehill is game manager, middle of the pack, mediocre quarterback, right? But he's been to playoffs. He's won big games. He's a veteran. So go out there week 1 with the weapons that you have. You have Derrick Henry. They love Tajay Spears. I think they say he got more snaps than Derrick Henry last week. But Derrick Henry still ran the ball 15 times. And you got D-Hop playing receiver. And you go out there against the Saints and you throw 3 interceptions in a game that you could have won because the Saints, on the flip side, didn't look that great. 3 interceptions and you lose by 1. I need to see Ryan Tannehill and the Tennessee Titans bounce back this week, big time against the Chargers that you talked about, that Chargers defense that will have an opportunity to capitalize on Tannehill and his mistakes, man. I need to see some more, or Will Levis, Malik Willis, whichever one they like is going to be out there real soon, and Ryan Tannehill is going to be able to call it a career and be
Yeah,
a fan.
that didn't look like a team that can contend for the AFC South.
Not even close, not even close. And that's what I was going to say next. We tried to pencil him in there towards the top to compete with the Jags, but I mean, looking at how Anthony Richardson and the coach look, and you get Jonathan Taylor back on that team, they might be better than the Titans. You know what I'm saying? So the Tennessee Titans and Ryan Tannehill are definitely on my watch list. JoJo, I need better. I need better. You talk too much about your Titans, man, for them to go out there and do that. But we're going to look at our game of the week now. The Ravens versus the Bengals. I think we've tabbed that as our game of the week. AFC North matchup. Give me a prediction, man. I
Whew.
know it's tough.
I want to go Ravens on this one, but the way the Bengals got dominated, I feel like first home game, uh, they got to come back and win this one. Lamar and company, I know they're coming. They're going to play some good football, and they were able to get after the passer a lot against Houston. Um, that offensive line is going to have to come to play for sure next week. So I'm looking forward to that matchup. But I think I'm gonna go with Joe Burr and company to get it done. I'm gonna say Jamar Chase gets 2 tutties
Mm.
for my fantasy team, and I'm gonna say my Bengals get back on track.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna go the opposite way. As we know, the Ravens are my Super Bowl champion selection. Uh I feel like it's gonna be a close one. And I kind of I battled with it earlier. I was like, I don't see the Bengals, kind of like you said, I don't see the Bengals repeating that performance. Likewise, I don't see the Ravens kind of repeating their performance. They didn't look great. It looked real pedestrian, but they also didn't have Mark Andrews. And I think that's the difference maker. Mark Andrews returns week 2. I like the Ravens in a close one, 24-21. Uh, and I think Joe Burrow and them are going to be spiraling and have some questions. Jamar Chase, he had said, that they good. Um, they're a team that starts slow a lot, so I don't think that it's panic time for them should they lose. But I like my Ravens to win. Oh, my Ravens, my hometown Ravens. It's not my hometown. My new city Ravens. My new city Ravens. 24-21, man, a close one. Nell, it's that time.
Yeah, man, it is that
Charge
time.
to the
Got a lot.
duel. Nelly's numbers. Week 1 recap, Nell. Go ahead. Take it over from here. I'll let you go ahead and fill us in. You lost some people some money.
I don't even think we really need to go over the recap. Yeah, I mean, if y'all seen it ain't it well. I'm gonna just say that it ain't it well. But don't worry, I got y'all this week, man.
Ellie's back.
Shout out to my guy Ed. He's gonna be following my picks all season. I told him I'm gonna pay off his college debt, and
Okay.
uh, and
Okay.
we gonna get it popping. So
That's
look, since this drops on Thursday, I'm gonna give y'all a little Thursday night parlay for the Eagles and the Vikings. Well, something for y'all. We gonna take Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown. Back at the crib, Philly gonna be lit. They get down at the goal line. I got him for taking one in.
okay.
Then we're gonna take him. We're gonna take him over 1.5 tutties. Like you said, the offense didn't look great week 1 against the Patriots, and I think the Patriots defense is still one of the best in the league. Though Belichick, he knows how to scheme it up. So it's not like they were playing a terrible defense week 1, and on the road it was rainy conditions. So not really putting too much stock into how they played offensively. I think when they get back home, I think they're due for some home cooking. And I mean, it's the Vikings. The Vikings don't have really any imposing, corners.
The defense is weak, bro. That
There's nothing on that defense that I think is gonna get Philly trouble. So Hurts over 1.5 touchdowns, anytime touchdown score, easy money. And one more, we got Justin Jefferson. That boy went off week 1, at least in the first half. But
yeah.
you know, at the end of the day, it's Kirk Cousins' only weapon. He's gonna go to him often. And we gonna take over 6.5 receptions.
Okay. I
So
mean, I
that little,
like
that little 3-team parlay, that should be good for y'all. But I'm gonna give
that.
out one more just
Okay.
because
A special.
my people last week, and
Okay.
gotta give them something. I gotta give them something. So we gonna do a little money line parlay. All my guarantees for the week. We're gonna take the Cowboys over the Jets, easy money. We're gonna take the Dolphins. I forgot who they play this week. The Patriots. We got Dolphins over the Patriots. We're gonna take the Saints over the Panthers. And we're gonna take the 49ers over the Rams.
All right. There you have it. Nelly's numbers. Charge it to the duel. Charge it to the duel.
Parlays. We walking away with something. We
Okay.
walking away with something this week.
Nelly has said it, man. We got the Charge to the Duel segment produced by Nelly and Nelly's numbers, man. And now it's time for my favorite segment, man. Keith's take. I ain't gonna lie. Last week I was wrong. I was wrong. Nell was wrong, but everybody was wrong. The NFL was just out of whack.
I have to bring it up that I was wrong.
I'm sorry. The NFL was out of whack, Nell.
It was week 1.
Week 0. week 0.
What they say, any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday, I was wrong about Bryce. Let me down. But Baker did not let me down. I told y'all that. I'm going to let that one slide. But this week is great because Nell just said it, and it coincides with exactly what Nell just told y'all, folks. I am going to take the Rams to potentially upset the 49ers this week.
Good for my parlay, man. That's not
We
good.
talked about the Rams, man. We said what they could be. Matt Stafford healthy, maybe. Cooper Kupp healthy. And they still had Aaron Donald. Walt came on here and said, people forgot. Geno Smith didn't. Geno Smith is yelling, oh, shit. You know what I'm saying? As Aaron Donald's running down. Cooper Kupp is not around. But insert Tutu Atwell and Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua and the Rams, led by Matt Stafford, will go on and potentially, I'm going to say potentially, meaning that they might not. But my Quis take is that they will give them a dogfight. It will be a close one. I'm putting the Niners on upset alert.
That's it.
This is even after. This is okay, fine. I'll go all the way.
Yeah, stand on it.
I'm going to stand on it. Niners are on upset alert, even after me saying that they might be the best team in the NFL. I'm going to go with the Rams and Sean McVay, led by Matt Stafford, Puka Nacua, and Tutu Atwell to upset them. They held the Seahawks to 13 points. That defense that we talked about, that defense that I said, that secondary is an X factor. They might not be enough, but if they can play just well enough, I said they're an X factor. I said it on the preview. They held Geno Smith, Mr. I ain't writing back, comeback player of the year, to just 13 points. Come on, man. AD's still there. Brock Purdy ain't seen that before. He ain't seen that man running at him. I think Sean McVay can, if anybody's going to go tit for tat with Shanahan on some schemes, on some schematics, it's Sean McVay. And I think this game has potential to be a little upset. So my Quis take of the week, man, we taking the Los Angeles Rams, a team that I don't even really like. But I do like the name Puka Nacua. And I'm going to get him on fantasy if I can. So if y'all, my fantasy people, well, you won't see it till Thursday. Waiver wire tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, y'all will see it. He's going to be on my teams. But I'm taking the Rams, man. That's my Quis take of the week. So book it, man. It goes against what Nell said. If you're going to charge it to the dude, charge it to the dude. But if you're going to ride with Quis takes, I told y'all about the Bucs, and I was right. I'm telling you now, if you're going to ride with Quis takes, man, trust me.
There's two.
I did. You told him about the Cowboys, though.
I did.
You did. And the Jets. And the Bengals. That was a little off. But you did tell him about the Steelers. So we got some stuff, man. There's some stuff over here. Y'all just got to keep track, man. We're going to get into our final segment of the day. Our week 4 pick 'em, Nell. 3-0, man. We went 3-0, counting my boy Walt. Nell went with the Commanders, who got a close victory. A close one. A close one, right?
Hey.
I
just said I guarantee. I didn't say it was going to be a blow.
You just said they was going to win, and that's what happened. I went with the Jags, who also, at one point in time, almost had that game thrown away against the Colts. I will say Anthony Richardson did surprise me as well. I was going to put him in my surprises earlier, but he threw that interception and then lost, so I can't let him ride. But the Jags won last week, so Quis is 1-0, and Walt went with the Ravens, 1-0. Walt not here, so I don't think he has a pick. I'm assuming he went with the Bills. I'm going to say he went with the Bills. Actually, no. The Bills were our game of the week that we all were incorrect on as well. But we were right on our weekly pick 'em. So, Nell, give me your one team this week, man. The schedule's a little tougher because you said none of these games are real eye-popping. Nothing really like, they're the favorite. You know.
It's easy.
Who you got?
I got the Colts.
Ooh.
I mean, I'm using the Colts up this week.
Wow.
Guaranteed.
That's easy?
Guarantee it.
So you just gave us your guarantee parlay, and then you come back.
Guarantee it.
Okay. I want to hear this. Give me why.
Look, man, Colts ain't looked too bad against the Jags.
They didn't. I'll give you that.
You know, Anthony Richardson didn't light it up, but I liked what I saw, and they looked a lot better than Houston looked against Baltimore. So, It's gonna be a nice rookie duel, but I'm gonna rock with the Colts to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, I can get behind that. The Colts did look better than the Texans. Um, the Texans might have played a better team, but the Ravens didn't look that good and still won by double digits. I think Anthony Richardson looked extremely comfortable, if nothing else. CJ Stroud looked like he thinks he's still in college sometimes, and he can run around and just do.
Oh,
So I'm with you. Okay, I like where your head's at, man. I'm gonna
NFL
go.
players.
Yeah, and you're not throwing to Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka Egbuka and all Jackson Smith and Jigba and all 39 top 10 receivers that Ohio State will have coming out in the next 20 years uh, against, small college teams and stuff. So I like that pick. I hope CJ Stroud succeeds, but this might not be the week. That's a tough pick, though, Nell. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills to bounce back. I said I need to see more.
The cream of the crop every week. You feel me? Like I like a challenge.
Yeah,
I'll
no,
take
I feel that. I feel that. My team
hold.
picks 0-1 though, so I'm gonna go with the Bills, man. I'm taking the Bills as the 0-1, highly favored against the Raiders, but I'm trying to have a winning record. I'm trying to use up. I'm trying to use my.
Oh,
You say what?
I bet you I'll be 2-0.
I'll be 2-0 with you then. That's
Well,
fine. You see who lose first. You want to keep playing? Trust me. I pick my Bucks every week if I could.
then you'd have a losing record.
That's fine. But that's why we made sure you cannot pick the same team every time. So I'm gonna use my big fish while I can. I went Jags, I'm gonna go Bills. Next week I might go a little bit lower, but this week we're going Bills over the Raiders. The Raiders 1-0, sure. It didn't really do nothing for me. I wasn't too amused. I was like, okay, the Raiders won.
They had a mid off with the Broncos.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the Broncos come out kicking onside kick first play. You knew where their head was at that night, and that's how that ended. So we're gonna go with the Bills for me. Nell took the Colts, man. We'll monitor that, see who goes longer, see if we can finish, maybe with an undefeated record for somebody. Hopefully it's me. If it's Nell, I give Nell credit. You know what I'm saying? That's great. And then our last week we lost our game of the week, so we'll try to bounce back. Hopefully Nell has the Bengals, correct? I have the Ravens. So somebody got to lose that as well. But folks, that's going to do it for us, man. Nell, do you got anything to share? Anything else, man? Anything for the people? Do you have an outro song?
I just got one thing to say.
Okay, let's hear it.
How about them Cowboys? Yes, sir.
And that is how we will end it, folks. I can't believe I'm going to let my podcast end with that.
Yes, sir.
Here we are, man. I appreciate y'all tuning in. We're right where we want to be. We're in the thick of things. Week 1 is over. Week 2 coming up. Y'all will hear this on Thursday. The start of week 2, man. We really appreciate y'all always listening. As always, follow us on the socials, man. 2for2 Pod on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Look at the YouTube. I know some of y'all listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, but we also got the YouTube going. If you didn't know, YouTube link, you can watch this live and in charge. And trust me, if you are watching this or if you're listening to this, you're going to want to see Nell's fit, man. So make sure you go on over to the YouTube, man. If you go to the Instagram page, we got a link in there that you can find the YouTube, or you can search up 2for2 Podcast and sift through a couple things and you'll find us, man. But I appreciate y'all as always. That's season 3, episode 6. We out.